when you treat your job as the destination, your whole identity sits inside that job. Every promotion will feel like progress. Every setback will feel like a personal failure. And every difficult day will feel like your whole life is broken. Because what you're doing, whether you're conscious of it or not, is that you're measuring your work by your title, your salary, and even your boss's mood. This week, I taught my community about 3 quiet things that hold most people back. Not the loud failures, the silent ones. And today I want to share these 3 with you. Number 1 are the mistakes that you didn't deal with. Now, this is what I have learned about that. A new year does not erase last year's mistakes, nor does a new month reset them. Even a new year resolution does not replace the work of going back, naming what happened, and asking what that taught you and what you're going to do differently. There was a season when I kept setting goals at the top of every year, full of energy and full of a lot of plans. And every year, almost like clockwork, by April, I was already tired. Man, this is why taking this step is so critical. If you don't name the mistake will name the next season of your life. And whichever way you go, in the next 12 months, you will either have done the small, honest work that I've asked you to do, or you'll be carrying the same suitcase into the next season of your life. I pray you don't take the latter option. The second thing we discussed was the company that you are keeping. You see, your closest 5 individuals to you are not neutral players in the game of your life. They are either pulling you towards what God is calling you to, or they are quietly pulling you away from it. There's no middle ground in life. I learned this in marriage, in ministry, and in business. The wrong company can keep a right vision dormant for years, not because the wrong company is evil. Most times, the wrong company is loving. They mean well, they love you. They're probably family or close friends. But you see, love is not direction. If you've not heard anything at all, know that love is not the same thing as direction. When I first started on my life mapping journey, I noticed something not too obvious. The conversations I was having every week influenced the steps that I was prepared to take. If I spent my week in small, distracted conversations, I walked through that week with a small mindset, small thoughts. But you see, as I began to follow first one and then more voices that were speaking life over me, calling me into who I was becoming, I found that I was able to embrace greater challenges and I was now making greater strides. Why? Because Proverbs 27 and verse 17 tells me that iron sharpens iron, and that's how one man sharpens another. Now, at some point, I had to be honest with myself and I had to look at my cycle and ask, which direction is this group as a whole pulling me? Now, I'm not asking you to cut anyone off, although you can if you feel the need to. But this is what I am asking you to do, something a bit more quieter. Number 1, be honest about who you spend the most time with. Number 2, be honest about the direction that the group is going. And then add one person this season who is actually going where you are called to go. That person will be an addition and will gradually replace at least one person who is pulling you back. And then you can repeat the process. Because here's the reality of life. You cannot reach a destination that your closest cycle has not committed to. Their gravity will pull you back every time you try, because it's easier to regress than to progress. So I leave you with these 3 questions for you to answer today. Like I said, who are your 5 closest voices right now? That's the first thing you must identify. Number 2, what direction are they pulling you? And number 3, what do you need to add, or who do you need to add to that cycle this season? Sit with these questions before you set a single new goal. Why? Because no goal survives the wrong company. And the third thing we discussed is the job that you are confusing for your destination. And that's the 9 to 5 puzzle. Many people go through this. Most 9 to 5ers don't actually have a job problem. They have a confusion problem. And here's the confusion. They are treating the 9 to 5 as the destination, when the truth is your 9 to 5 is the funding mechanism for the destination. And unfortunately, when you treat your job as the destination, your whole identity sits inside that job. Every promotion will feel like progress. Every setback will feel like a personal failure. And every difficult day will feel like your whole life is broken. Because what you're doing, whether you're conscious of it or not, is that you're measuring your work by your title, your salary, and even your boss's mood. And when something inside you dares to whisper that there's something more that God has for you, you panic. Because since the job is your destination, that whisper then begins to feel like a threat. But when you treat your job as the funding mechanism, guess what? Everything changes. Now, that same job is no longer who you are, it is what you use. It then funds the bigger picture that you can see. It buys you time, it buys you stability, even the runway that you need to build what God has actually called you to build. And I have worked with so many workers who finally relaxed when they understood this, because they stopped resenting their jobs, they stopped quitting impulsively, they stopped staying chained out of fear. Instead, they did three things. One, they named the destination, the actual life and work that God is calling them to. Because in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, God says, I know the plans that I have for you. He said, they are plans of welfare and not of evil, and is to give you a future and a hope. So God has a destination in mind for each of us. And after doing that, the second thing they did was they named the role of the job, which was to fund that destination and not to replace it. And then number three, which is most crucial, they started using their salary, their hours, their lunch breaks differently. They started investing into the destination instead of drowning the destination in a survival mode. So let me leave you with this question as well. What is your 9 to 5 actually for? And if your honest answer is, this job is my life, then the trap that you are in is not the job. The trap is the confusion. And the way out is not necessarily quitting. The way out is clearly knowing what your job is funding and deliberately starting to fund it. And if you are tired but your salary is good, sit with this. If you have been promising yourself that you'll figure out the big picture one day, sit with this until you get an answer. Because your job is not your destination. I don't know how I can say that any more clearly. Your job is the bridge. You just need to see what is on the other side of the bridge, and then you have the courage to cross the bridge. Now, the connecting truth to everything that we've discussed in my community is this: all three of them are quiet. None of them announce themselves. They are like slow drift, and that's exactly why they hold you back successfully. So I urge you to take the weekend, or whatever day of the week it is for you. Pick one of these three that hit the hardest. Don't try to do all three. No. Pick one and sit with it. That's where this season's clarity will come from. And if you're not yet following me, hit the subscribe button right now for next week's teaching. And I will see you there very soon.